What's going on, YouTube? I hope that you are doing okay. For me, unfortunately, this video comes at a very difficult time right now for me personally. I had a suggestion by my good friend Rob to make a video about this while it is still fresh. And it is really fresh right now. So unfortunately, on Sunday, December the 10th, my grandmother passed away. And she was, I believe, 83 years old. And the last few years of her life were not as one would envision, suffering from dementia, and that's never an easy thing to deal with. But she did live a long, fulfilled life. She was never a Jehovah's Witness. However, the rest of my family are pretty much all Jehovah's Witnesses. I have one aunt and one uncle that are not, they don't have any kids, so all of my other aunts and uncles, nieces, nephews, cousins, parents, brothers and sisters, they're all Jehovah's Witness. So I had to discover news of my grandmother dying through my wife. None of my family bothered to call me directly or even text me that my grandmother had passed away. So I'm going to be honest, and you guys already know I wear my heart on my sleeve anyways, but that's pretty fucked up because they can't have the common decency to call or text me during what they're allowed to speak to me as is necessary family business. But they have to strain the gnat and gulp down the camel in a time of need and comfort, in a time of just being a human being. I did get a call from my stepdad later on that my mother wanted me to know that my grandma had passed away. But I hadn't heard his voice for so long, going on 4 years, that it took me a couple of times reading it or listening to it to remember what he sounded like. So of course I'm being left out of the loop on everything. I missed the viewing of her that was done on Monday. No one told me about that. I did hear from my wife that day she died that all of my family were going to go to her house, my grandma's house, and that I was invited to go. But why would I want to be around people that do not want to speak to me, is what I was thinking. They don't have the decency to tell me, hey, do you want to come over to grandma's house? She just passed away. No. So I decided I was going to go see my uncle. He lived with my grandma and pretty much helped take care of her quite a bit the last years of her life. So I wanted to go visit him. He is not a JW. Like I mentioned, I only have one aunt and one uncle that are not Jehovah's Witnesses. All the rest of them, everyone else and their kids and their spouses, they're all. And I also found out today that one of my nephews and one of my nieces, they got married. I didn't know that. I went to go shake someone's hand. I did not know who this person was. Come to find out, he was my niece's husband. Same with this other lady. I did not know who she was. She's my nephew's wife. Had no idea. So I was debating if I wanted to go today for the burial of her ashes, just because how my family has been treating me up until this point right now. And I thought that I was really past all the anger that's associated when you leave that religion and are now shunned by your family and friends. I thought I was past that. I was, things are going great in my life after leaving the Jehovah's Witness religion. And I was thinking that I was finally finding a good place in my life where I don't think about I don't think about them very often, or at least I try not to. And these events over the past few days, since Sunday, December the 10th, the day my grandma died, rest in peace, it's brought back all of that harsh feelings that I had, all that anger. And so you just never know how things are going to affect you. I wasn't expecting what took place today. So today's services were held at noon at a cemetery. And when I got there a little bit early because that's just me. I don't like to get there late. And got there a little early. There were a few people there. Said hi to my mom. Go figure. She hasn't said anything to me in 4 years. I gave her a hug. I gave my stepdad a handshake. And my other aunt that was there. Oh, let me rewind. So Wednesday, I went to go see my uncle, who is now a Jehovah's Witness. And he lived with my grandma, took care of her quite a bit her last years. Went to go see him because I knew he was taking it kind of hard. He was definitely a mama's boy, and he loved my grandma a lot. So I was hoping that no one else was going to be there with him, but when I got to my grandma's house, my uncle was there, and my aunt and cousin and his wife. I could tell by my aunt's actions that she didn't want to really talk to me. She didn't want to make eye contact with me. So it was kind of awkward. So I just was talking with my uncle, and after about 15 or 20 minutes, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be the bigger person. I'm going to go give my aunt a hug and see how she's doing because she just lost her mom. So I went up to her, gave her a hug. And I sincerely asked her how she was doing. And one of her first words was, Jehovah loves you, and he's ready for you to come back. So after 4 years, almost 4 years of not speaking to me, not calling to me, not answering any calls or text messages, nothing. That's what I get, that Jehovah loves me. Thank you. That was very encouraging. I needed to hear that. So, a lot of mixed emotions just immediately came up. I just told her, I said, thank you, but I'm at a good place in my life right now. So, that was that. My other nephew and his wife didn't even want to come inside while I was there, so they left after about 30 minutes after I got there. So I had some time to talk with my uncle, catch up with him, and to grieve with someone other than myself. So it was a good night. But that right there, the way my aunt was treating me, got me to thinking, do I really want to go to the burial services for my grandma? Because I knew pretty much everyone else was going to do the same thing. So sure enough, today, I went to go pay my last respects to my grandma to see where her ashes are buried, so that way I can go visit her and do the human thing, to be there. I had very mixed emotions, what was going to happen, how I should react in this situation versus that situation. Should I shun them as much as they shun me? And ultimately, I decided I'm not going to say hi to anyone. They don't want to say hi to me. So if they come up to me and say hi and give me a hug, whatever, they want to talk, I'm okay with that. But I wasn't going to try and reach out or any of that. So um, sure enough, since we were one of the first ones there, we see everyone coming one by one. And I would say half of my family members came up to me and gave me a hug and a handshake and said hi. And then basically that was it. The other half spoke to my wife and walked away. Not a word, not a handshake at all. So everything that I had thought was going to happen did happen. No, I was being shunned by half of the family there. They'd go say hi to my wife and wouldn't say hi to anything to me. Nothing. So I tried not to focus on that. And I just tried to stick with my wife and talk to my one aunt and one uncle that weren't Jehovah's Witnesses. And then next thing you know, someone says, "Who's going to be giving the talk?" And I was like, "Excuse me?" So one of my brother-in-laws gives a 20-minute public talk. JW.org, Watchtower, just branded all over that talk. Not everyone believes in your paradise stuff. I did appreciate the first 5 minutes or so, because she did talk about my grandma and how, some things that we loved about her. But it seemed like that didn't last very long, and next thing you know, we're in a Sunday public talk and inviting people to open their Bibles up. Let's stand and sing a song and then say a prayer. Whip out your watchtowers. You got your highlighters for, it was very depressing and angering to me. But I just stood there and just listened to it, looking at, taking the whole scene, because it was a beautiful day. It was sunny, I think 55, 60 degrees. It was very crisp. There was a slight breeze, and the skies were clear. Sun was bright. It was a great day for a burial. But the way they handled it just made it so depressing, at least from my experience. So yeah, he goes and gives a 20-minute Sunday talk. And then after that, my niece, I didn't know, she had been playing violin for the last year and a half, so she decided to play a song. and I already knew where this was headed. So she did a great job. She played the violin, and she played a Jehovah's Witness hymn from their songbook. So I was like, I'm just gonna forget where this song is taken and just appreciate her efforts on a kind of a colder, breezy day for us Texans, to play that for my grandma. So as she went and played her song, and then after that, or her violin, and then after that, everyone was we're just standing, and a lot of people were talking amongst each other, and I was talking with my aunt, my uncle, and my wife, the only three people there that really wanted to speak to me. So after a while, they buried her ashes, and it just kind of seemed like a good time for me to get out of there. It's very apparent that I'm not a part of their family. I heard overheard someone saying that there was going to be something at my mom's house. They were going to have a lot of my grandma's possessions, so we could kind of give that away to whoever wants it. But again, I am probably not invited to that. And even if I was, I wouldn't go. Why? Why should I subject myself to more shunning? I value myself more than that. So that has to have been the worst funeral I've ever been to. And it's sad that it was my grandma's, and she wasn't even a Jehovah's Witness. So it is what it is, and I'm gonna have to live with my family that's in a cult for the rest of my life, probably. And it's really sad that they can't be humans. They can't grieve the way they want to. They're so controlled. I'm not even going to speak to my brother because he's an apostate. I'm just going to I'll say hi to his wife, but I'm not. That is just, if you want people to go back to the Kingdom Hall, that's not the way to treat people to make them come back to the Kingdom Hall. That pushes people away. That is unchristian, unloving. And so if you ever watch this video, you are not my family. I'm sorry. I had one of my brothers tell me that he loved me. Oh, really? Actions speak louder than words, buddy. So I've got one aunt and one uncle in my family. Outside of that, I don't consider them my family. Family doesn't do that. So that was my experience as I just got home from the burial services of my grandma. So I've had a lot of support from people on social media, and I appreciate that, and I thank you for all your sympathies and condolences. I even got a call from a higher up executive from work expressing his sincerest sympathies and comfort for me. I never even met this high level executive, but he had the decency to call me at work and send me some kind words. I'm pretty sure if he was local, he would have shook my hand, had sat down and had a few minutes with me. But I can't even get that from my own Jehovah's Witness family. So lesson learned. I'm not going to go to another funeral except for my aunt and my uncle. But I will not be at any funeral services for any of my Jehovah's Witness family. And I will never step foot in a Kingdom Hall ever again. So I was hoping that since my grandma wasn't a Jehovah's Witness, that there were going to be no Jehovah's Witness isms in it. And that's my dog. She's a bird or a squirrel or something getting crazy. But I was hoping that it wasn't Jehovah stamped all over it, but it was. So I know what to expect next time, and I'm not going to. I honor and value myself more and expect more than what my family is doing to me. So I'm not going to be attending any more services. So anyways, I'm sorry that this is such a downer of a video, but I felt like it needed to be out there because I'm not the only one. There are other people that are going through the same similar circumstances. Many people. In fact, based on the experiences that I saw on Facebook from others, I probably should be grateful that I found out about all this stuff, because some people were never told, never attended the services, and found out months or years later. So it is crazy when your family's in a cult. With that, I'm going to go ahead and end this video and let you know that I'll be back soon enough with some more book reviews. Signing off.